Welcome to Work It, Live It, Own It, a show that explores how to upgrade your lifestyle through life lessons, real estate, and entrepreneurship. Here's your hostess, Sekola Lair. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to part 2 of my conversation with Michael Del Preet. In this particular conversation, we're going to shift gears from real estate investing 101 if you're an entrepreneur, but more specifically on his advice and his tips to help real estate agents to tap into the world of real estate investing, not only for themselves, for their clients, even including other investors. So this is an episode that you don't want to miss. And just to recap from last week's episode, Michael Del Preet is the co-executive director of the Arizona Real Estate Investors Association. So he is the real deal. He has over 700 transactions under his belt. So this is definitely an episode that you don't want to miss. And by the way, if you have any tips or suggestions on how to help the Work It, Live It, Own It community to grow when it comes to building generational wealth, or saying, you know what, I can retire with confidence through real estate investing, leave some of your tips and strategies that you have implemented below in the comments. Or if you've enjoyed listening to the episodes lately, don't hesitate to leave me a voice memo at workitliveitownit.com. So without further ado, here's part 2 of my conversation with Michael Del Preet. Okay, so now Michael, switching gears a little bit, we're gonna take this from the real estate agent's approach. And if me as a real estate agent, I've had a previous buyer client who's lived in their home for a few years, and they now want to keep that current home, buy another one, but want to keep that current home as an investment property. What are some key considerations or conversation that I need to have with my client to make sure that they're making a wise decision when it comes to transitioning over using that primary residence as an investment property?
Perfect. Yeah. First things first is they're starting a business. So whether that client is a business owner or they're starting another business, if they're never been in business, they're coming into that world. So there's a lot to look at. So first things first is I like your debt to income ratio. So can they even afford to do this? So I don't know what. Because usually you want your clients to be pre-qualified first. So I'm hoping they were pre-qualified first, and then they're talking to you, and their loan officer understands that they have that debt on their credit report. So once that's happened and they are pre-qualified, what's the situation when it comes to rents? Do they understand how to get rents, what the rents are in their neighborhood, and do those rents cover your mortgage? Right? Do they cover the mortgage? Do they cover expenses? And do they allow you to profit even a little bit at the end of the month? If it doesn't, are you okay with that? What is their tolerance or their risk tolerance on that? Are they also going to have some reserves for when things break? The AC goes out, the water heater goes out, tenants go missing in the middle of the night, and they got to make mortgage payments, right? So, all that stuff is to be considered. Also, then you're going to are you going to self-manage it, or are you going to hire a property manager? So there's a cost to property management, and not all property managers are created equal. So which route are you going to take? Because that's a cost. It's going to be 7 to 10% a month by having a property manager. So those would be my first conversations. And I know there's other ways to renting out the house. So outside of a long-term tenant, it's very common to say, hey, I want to Airbnb my house, or I want to do a short-term rental, a mid-term rental. That works, and you can do it. But you are, once again, I would say it's going to be even more work than proper, renting it out. So you're entering the hospitality business. Now you're a hotel. Do you want to learn how to be a hotel? Right? Once again, if you don't, you got to hire another property manager and count on someone to run, and a cleaning company to run that for you. So it can be profitable depending on your location. So do you know how to research that and know if it's a good, you know, short term or medium term rental? So a lot of a lot there.
Right. And so that also plays a factor when it comes to real estate agents knowing the neighborhoods, knowing what going rates, rent rates
Hmm.
are. And sometimes that can be challenging for us as realtors because if a lot of homes in that neighborhood haven't been rented out, it is kind of hard to determine what a going rate is. Are there any resources that you want to share with realtors on how to find that, especially if it's in a neighborhood where a lot of homes haven't been rented in? What would be a go to for a real estate agent?
For me, I always say, because MLS, not as investors, right? We if it's a slower market, it may hit the MLS, but usually you don't even have to put your property on the MLS. So that MLS data isn't always spot on for rentals. So you want to look at I don't think there's a perfect analysis. I go for me, I'll do MLS. I'll see what Zillow says. I'll check out. I use what's for investors. We use PropStream. You know, it's a CRM database, kind of does MLS access and everything. So I go to like 3 or 4 online resources and get my best opinion. However, if there's for rent signs in the neighborhood, you got to call the for rent signs. You're going to call that landlord that's trying to rent out their property and ask them, how long you been sitting there? How's the property look? How much do you get for rents? And not only so that's one is talking to the people in the neighborhood or talk to property managers that specialize in that neighborhood. So with all that research, you should be able to compile um, a good rental price.
I'm glad you said that because, like you said, sometimes you can always just rely on the MLS to gather that information for you. So having those resources, I know you use PropStream, and I know some realtors have access to PropStream, but also checking Zillow. And also, if there are for rent signs up in the local area, reach out, ask some questions. Good advice. Thank you, Michael. Now, I
Mm-hmm.
have another one for you from another realtor friend of mine who listens in. So I know we kind of touched on this a little bit earlier about education. Are there any top courses or areas of expertise that realtors or real estate agents need to possess in order to effectively work with investors?
Yes, definitely. Great question because this is a big, big topic, especially here in Arizona. If I can give you a little
Yeah.
story, here at the our headquarters here in Central Phoenix, we hosted a private event for a real estate mastermind, real estate agent group. Right, it's a reputable group. There's 100 agents, and I had the opportunity since I was hosting the event to ask, say, here's who we are as RIA, right? So I said, how many agents in here own rental property? 6 people raised their hand. Then I said, how many out of those 6 can retire off cash flow rentals right now? 2 raised their hand. So that's not a lot for 100 people experienced. This wasn't a beginners group that have been in the business 5, 10, 20 years, don't even own rentals. And I personally say agents have access to all the deals. You are the expert. They don't call Mike the investor when they need help. They call an agent, and an agent sends them in the right direction, whether it's investor or on market. So that there, the first thing I'm going to get to the question, but is wealth. Build your own personal wealth, right? Because markets go up and down, and if you've been in the business for a few years, you know this. And it'd be nice to have a couple rentals, right, under your belt, paying some bills while sales are slow. So one, you guys should real agents should be buying rental properties of some sort or investing in some capacity. Uh, Two, going into how can they better serve their clientele, maybe get more commissions or better or just better serve a client. Understanding 2 ways to look at it to work with investors. So if you understand how an investor thinks, you can do more deals. It's not just, hey, I'll set you up a portal and let me know what you like. So it's my wife, she'll set you up a portal
Mm-hmm.
And then she'll go, "What's your cap rate? What's your return on investment?" So you need to know the lingo, the terms that we look at. It's all numbers. It's not emotional like the first time home buyer, the person looking for their second home with the upsizing, downsizing. It's numbers, it's cash flow. So, one, you have to understand how the investor thinks. And when I said the investor identity, the criteria, you want to know what it is. Now set up that portal and hunt and put 3 deals. Say, "Hey, look at these 3, 4 properties. They're not there. They're pretty close, but they have this, they have that." So you need to understand the rents, the return on investment. So now I feel my wife gets more deals done that way versus, I hear agents in the community go, "Oh, I set up the portal, but they never open it." No, you gotta go in there and tell them what's hot. Right? So you got to educate yourself by coming down to investment. It doesn't even have to be a RIA. I don't care where you go. Get around investors and then ask them how they think and what they look for, whether it's flips, rental properties. So that's one part of it. Then there's the creative financing. You may be hear a lot of buzz around subject to seller carryback, wraps, lease options. Over the last 3, 4 years, or a little bit even more than that because we've been in the seller's market for so long. You didn't hear these because the money was out there and everyone was just markets was going up, so you didn't need to be creative. But in like the 80s, the 90s, when interest rates were 20%, they couldn't do deals, so they had to get creative. So now what you're seeing as agents is you're getting creative offers, right? Hey, my client will take over your client's mortgage, right? Or if the house is free and clear, hey, I'll pay you more, but give me payments like become the bank for us. So if you, what a confused mind says no. So when I through the over the last 12 years, when I write these offers to agents, they go, no, my client won't do that. No, it's because the agent doesn't understand what it is. No, it's illegal. No, it's not illegal. It's just it wasn't in your training,
Mhm.
your legal training to become an agent, where your broker doesn't train you on these things. So I think if you understand seller carryback subject to, you can serve your clients better because when those offers come in, you can articulate them to them. Or if they can't sell their house due to the condition or they owe too much on their mortgage, you can suggest these type of strategies.
Okay.
That was my long answer.
No, 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 it's fine. So, because there are some realtors who want to branch out, who want to get into investing, they want to make sure that they're okay during the lean times and the lean months when it comes to real estate, in the traditional sense of real estate transactions. So, and I've seen some of my realtor friends do it and they started working with investors. I've even thought about, okay, what if my particular niche was investing? We need to know what questions to ask. So, is
Hmm.
there like a course you need to sign up for? Because I think that's what the person was looking for. Like, is there this course? Should they show up just like a person who is not a realtor but wants to get into real estate investing by showing up to RIA meetings or RIA events, right? You're saying put yourself
Hmm.
in the room, ask the questions.
Yeah, you just got to see what your Yep, get with other investors. When you go to a local RIA, like we just held a creative finance class that touches all these. We recorded the workshop a couple years ago, 2 years, and we have it on our website. So if you go to these communities, they should have all these strategies, some type of training, whether it's in person, online, that you can purchase or have access to, or even YouTube's a great start. Like there's a lot of great information just to start getting the information, recognizing the information. YouTube is just as good.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. So again, realtors, my fellow real estate agents, we got to show up in those rooms as well and get educated ourselves, not just for our clients, but also for ourselves if that's what you want to do. So now the other question I have from another realtor for you. Their name is Connie, and they wanted to know this one specifically. Is there a key
Okay.
formula, calculation strategies that real estate agents need to know? Because I know you were talking about ROI, return on investment, cap rate. Is there something where we can just plug and play, type in, or is there a formula that we need to calculate and work this out ourselves? How do we figure out whether something is going to be a good investment for ourselves or for another potential investor client.
Got it. So once again, flip, rental, all different. So if it's a rental property, the simple formula that you want to start with is gross income, meaning all the money earned that month from the tenants. If it's a larger building, there might be washing machines and whatever it may be, vending machines. So let's just say gross rents are $1,000. Your tenant pays that every month. Great. Minus expenses. What are expenses? Property management fees, maybe landscape. Depends what you you don't defer to the tenant, right? So repairs, legal, any type of expense to run the property. So gross rents minus expenses equals NOI, net operating income. So if you paid all cash for the property and had no debt on it, you'd stop there. However, most people have debt on the property. So then after the NOI, so let's just say $1,000 minus $300. So now you're at $700 net operating income minus debt service, right? Which is your mortgage. So say that's $500, right? So now your true net cash flow is $200 a month. You then times that by 12. So you're at $2,400 on an annual basis. You divide that into whatever cash came out of the investor's pocket or your pocket. So if it was a $25,000 down payment, right, and you put 10 grand into repairs and it costs 35, your client or yourself spent $35,000 to acquire this house, you divide the 2,400 into the 35 grand, and that is your cash on cash return.
Okay.
That would give you the cash on cash returns. Cap rates are just like thermometers to know if this is a decent deal, and everyone has that whatever that ROI is, that return is with 5% or 25%. Then you as the investor have to say, is that good or is that bad? Obviously, the lower it is, if something goes wrong, right, it's gonna, if like people came to this market over the last couple of years buying 2%, 3% cap rates, if your AC or water heater goes out, you're done as a mom and pop investor. So you need to be up closer to that 10, or everyone's different, but 10 or more, right, to protect you from the major expenses. And usually you'll find lower returns in nicer neighborhoods and higher returns in tougher neighborhoods, so to speak, right?
Okay. All right. So for the ones that are getting into real estate investing, whether you're a realtor or entrepreneur, is there like a website where they can go to actually see these formulas and calculations, to actually see it for themselves, especially for our visual learners out there? Is there a place, maybe YouTube? Where would they go to look at those formulas depending on their situation?
Go to, if you want to know the, yeah, I would go to investopedia.com. So Investopedia.
Mhm.
It's a general website. It's free. It's like the dictionary of real estate or investing, right? So you could put cap rate in there. They'll explain what it is.
Mhm.
They'll give you a video as to and how it's done.
Okay.
So Investopedia is a great resource for those basic
Okay.
calculations.
Investopedia.com, right? Okay.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much, Michael. This has been wonderful. I've been able to talk to you about real estate investing 101, how someone who's interested in real estate investing to get in the room, to show up, learn all they can, educating themselves. And then he's
Mm-hmm.
come and talked to us about, for real estate agents, how we can best help our clients or even work with investors and become investors ourselves. So thank you, Michael. Thank you so much for this. But before you go, I have two rapid fire questions for you. You ready? What's a skill or
Okay.
hobby you've always wanted to pick up, but you haven't had the chance to yet?
Ooh, put me on the spot here. Um, a skill, I would probably say it'd be something like more creative, like music or something. Like I don't know exactly what it is yet. I think there's like this I played the guitar when I was younger, like like a couple months kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I always wish I went back to that,
Okay.
like a piano or guitar.
Okay. Maybe you will one day. Maybe you will. And another question for you.
Maybe.
Maybe. Well, if you got the time, right? If you could have dinner
Yes.
with a celebrity, who would it be?
With a, you know, oh man, that's a really good one too. So many pop. I'd probably say Kanye West.
That would probably make an interesting conversation for sure. For sure.
He's just got. I think he's got the business, the music, the marketing. Like he's just himself.
Mhm.
Like I appreciate that.
Yeah. He's truly himself. That's for sure. Well, guys, we want to hear from you. We want to hear from you guys. What's one burning question or insight you've gained from today's episode with Michael Del Preet? Drop it in the comments. Let's keep this conversation going. Also, be sure to share your experience. Have you tried any real estate investment strategies that were discussed today or in the previous episode? Share your experiences or challenges in the comments below. Your story just might inspire others in our community. Most importantly, I want to thank you, Michael, for coming on and sharing your gems of wisdom. But most importantly, guys, don't forget to work it, live it, own it in your everyday lives. Take care.